Welcome to the show!
Are you lighting dumpsters on fire?
Last night was bad.
The whole plane smells like weed.
Those were the days.
It's a joke, you idiot.
He's like, oh, it was great. We used to live in the subway tunnels.
Good old innocent fun. Welcome back to Troublemakers, the podcast where each week we bring on a guest and they tell crazy stories about their lives. I'm your host, Dylan Krasinski, coming at you live after Christmas, before the new year, on a beautiful day in Brooklyn. The candles are lit and we're ready to have a good time. If you're new to the pod, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're going to find us. And God forbid, dude, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Pods, give us a review. Give us a nice 5 stars. Leave a nice little comment. I see some of you were doing it. I know some of you were writing just because Dylan told me to, and I don't care. I appreciate it. We love to see it. Keep up the good work. All right, let's get into the episode. Our guest today, I mean, old Boston friend. Haven't seen each other in a while, but
3 years.
Super happy to have him here, dude. This is what the holidays are. They bring people back together. New York native, LA comedian. Put your hands together. Randy V, everybody.
Thank you. Very professional. You got the radio voice going and everything.
Did you like that intro?
Yeah, man. I am so bad. I've been running. We were talking about it right before you flipped on the recorder here, but I've been running my podcast for a little over 5 years. I should be 6 next week.
Give it a
the
plug.
Ready, Set, Blow podcast every Wednesday, folks. You can find it everywhere: YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. Dylan's podcast says we are too. But that's the thing. I do all that announcement shit at the end because I always forget. When I start my podcast, I tell the producer, I'm like, just fucking hit record and we're going to start talking.
Yeah.
And at some point I'll do the introduction. So it's kind of a rolling start, but I always forget the important part, the subscribe and rate, review.
Dude, yeah.
I'm the worst at that. I'm shit at self-promotion. Yeah.
We were just saying that before we get on. It's 2 guys who probably are real bad at making money doing comedy. I know, I'm really trying to get better.
The funny thing is, we were really good at it in our old professional lives. You know, like exactly. I was a banker, you were a big shot lawyer, and money wasn't a problem. Now that we're doing something we love, we don't know how to squeeze a nickel out of this fucking thing.
You know what it was? It's because you're relying on other people to give you money, and now you have to get that money yourself. Yes. And I'm like, oh fuck, it's
you just assume,
different.
Oh, I do good work, the money will come. It's like, no. Yeah. You got to put it out there yourself. And dude, I did Big Pine this year, and all the industry representatives said the same thing. They want a complete package. They're not going to help you get money. They want you showing up with a revenue stream already. I'm like, well, then what the fuck am I paying you for,
dude?
It's like you should already have a YouTube following that's generating revenue. I'm like, then why am I giving you 20 points on that?
Exactly.
Get the fuck out of here.
These people are crazy.
I know.
These people are insane. That's what like managers are now. They have to get in right at this point where they're like, you have a following, but it's small enough where you still think you need them. Because once you're big enough, it's like there are tons of guys we know who are at a point now where they don't have any industry heat. They've never had it, but they're bigger than the industry.
Yeah.
Dude. And it's like you don't need the industry.
That's I think what turned the management reps off to me they were all friendly and all great, but I think
you turning off industry reps. Yeah, exactly. I can't imagine that.
But not only my style of comedy, but the way I want to earn money. Because they were like, "Oh, do you want to get into TV commercials?" I'm like, "No, I don't give a fuck about that. I want to, I want more the Bill Burr, Tim Dillon model, less the Kevin Hart model." And all they heard was no money for us. Because they know I'm not giving them any of my podcast money. They know I'm not giving them any of my YouTube money. So like, well, what the fuck am I going to get at? So they just ignored me.
Dude.
He's like, oh, he wants to earn his own money? Well, fuck, we can't use and abuse him. So,
dude, I'll tell you this. If someone wanted to fucking pay me to go do commercials, I would do commercials.
Oh, dude, so I did a spot. Oh,
you make money.
I know, dude. I'm so thrilled for this. So I've heard this, leaving Boston, I've heard it a dozen times, maybe 24 times. I have a distinctive voice, so people are like, oh, you should do voiceover work. I'm like, I'd love to. I just don't know how to get into that. Dude, I did a spot at Stand Up New York 2 nights ago. There was a voiceover casting agent in the audience. It's like, hey, you got a great voice. Do you have a reel? And I'm like, I'd love to get into voiceover, but I don't know shit about it. It's like, well, here's my information. I'll help you get that start. So
get out of here, dude.
I hope when I get back to LA and I email this woman, I can do some voiceover work, because she does like big voiceovers, dude. She does like all those international shows on Netflix. Her company casts the English dub for that. So I'm like, oh, I could read all day long, man.
Dude, that's really good.
I mean, that's key too.
Dude, right? You don't even got to be like, you don't even got to match the lips. You're just reading.
I don't even have to look good. Like, to be an actor, you have to have like a look. It's just my voice. I could be hungover and fucking all puffy-eyed. No one will say anything.
That's the dream. Yeah. I mean, that's the best part about podcasts is I woke up about 30 minutes before we were going to do this pod. I was like, I got to do this.
If I do voiceover, the odds of me, like, no one's going to know who's doing the voiceover.
Yeah.
But if I was in acting or commercial work and I make some inappropriate jokes sometimes, that could get me fired. But no one's looking to fire a voiceover guy. Like no one knows the voiceover guy.
Dude, it's the same way that basketball players are way more famous than football players.
Yeah.
Because the helmet, dude. The helmet. They see the face and they go, that's a famous guy. Voiceover actors are just the football players of the entertainment world. Okay.
Yeah. I think David Attenborough is like the only guy who's like known for voiceover.
Dude, I don't even.
Him and Mike Rowe. Yeah. I don't even know who that is.
Exactly. I mean, Mike Rowe, I know because I know his face.
Yeah, exactly. Because he had a TV show.
If you played his voice for me, because that's the thing, no one's gonna like hear that voice. I guess maybe if you heard like whoever does the voice for the old Walt Disney movies, just saying the N-word, you'd be like, ooh. Maybe that guy
Walt
shouldn't.
Disney is anti-Semitic fucking rants.
Maybe that guy shouldn't be announcing, the new Disney movie to theaters now.
Dude, how long you been living here?
In New York. I moved to New York.
So this is technically Bushwick, right?
Yeah, this is Bushwick.
Okay.
I've been here since.
We don't have to give out your address. But.
I mean, people know. Not the exact address, but they know.
You try to get chicks over here, ladies, if you're listening.
We talk
Cooper Street.
Oh, dude. Well, now I got to move. God damn it.
Well, Cooper Street's long. So,
it is. There was just a shooting here. I talk a lot of shit about this place that I live, and I didn't realize that Randy.
Born and raised here.
Born and raised right in the Myrtle Ave area, which is I will say, the good part of Bushwick. It's the best part of Bushwick. Like, that's where it's at,
like
dude.
being the tallest midget in the forest. That's damning with faint praise.
Well, you walked here, right?
Yeah.
So you saw this neighborhood. Like, it's fine, but there's no coffee shops. There's no like real bars.
There's no main
right near
strip.
Me.
Yeah.
There's no There's no restaurants other than the bodega. So there's not a lot happening here. There was just a shooting like a week before Christmas right at that intersection up there. At like 5 o'clock at night, two guys just started firing at each other.
You know how it is, family gatherings.
Oh, it's a lot of stress around the holidays. No one caught, obviously. Dude, I walked out of my apartment. To go to the train, and there's no joke, like 50 cops just walking around looking for bullets. And I was like, what happened? And they were like, don't worry about it. And I was like,
don't worry.
I'm a little worried about it.
I live here. I'm going to worry.
I'm a little concerned.
There's 50 cops wandering my block. I want to know why.
Oh, dude. So you grew up right in this area.
Born and raised in Ridgewood. I grew up I originally lived on Cornelia and like Cypress.
Okay.
And I moved from there up a little closer to Fresh Pond Road on Myrtle Avenue. When I was like 12 or 13. And that's where my mom still lives, up in that area.
Damn.
Now it's called the Ridgewood Central Historic District, which is just complete bullshit. It's just a way to get that, like, to up property values by the small cadre of German, Irish, and Italian people that still live in this neighborhood. There's like 40 of them.
Yeah. Dude, I forgot. We met in Boston, so I always assume that it's the same reason why people assume that I'm from Boston.
Yeah, where are you from?
Long Island.
Oh, that's right.
Exactly.
Right.
So many people, it's like, oh, we met there. We were friends. So I just assume everyone's from there. But dude, there is something, now that you say it, I can see the city kid on you.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I mean, they hear it. That was one thing when I moved to LA, Jeff Dye, who I opened for, my buddy Jeff, had been trying to get me moved out there for a while. And finally I broke down after my lease was up in Boston in 2019 to move out. And he was like all excited. But the first I got there, he's like, all right, man, listen, just so you know, people, they might take you the wrong way at first. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? I just drove across the country to move out here. He's like, you might rub people the wrong way. I'm like, well, how? What did I do? He's like, nothing you do, just the way you are. He's like, just
in the way you're responding to this.
The tone of your voice alone is gonna put people on their heels. He's like, but don't change. They'll get used to it. It'll take a few months, and it'll make you different. And he was right. At first, people thought everything out of my mouth sounded like, give me your purse. Just because the tone of my voice is what it is, and I have a New York accent, and I speak very forcefully. He's like, but they'll get to know you, and they'll realize it's just the way you talk.
Dude, it's so fun. It's true, though. I mean, listen, LA is filled with a bunch of like fucking fake, that we talked about this a few months ago, but LA is filled with like these fake nice people, and New York is filled with like nice assholes.
Yeah, hidden gems. I say it all the time when people ask me, like, how do you like LA? I mean, I love LA as a place. If I could move all the people from New York out there, it'd be perfect.
Exactly,
it's the people there that are problem.
Exactly.
And they have this reputation, like, historically, the LA is so laid back. They're the most uptight fucking tightwads in the world, dude.
I can't imagine.
The worst audiences, I mean, by far the worst audience. I play all over the country. The worst audiences, like most difficult audiences to navigate, are LA audiences. I mean, I imagine there's some pockets in Bushwick where you do a fucking a poetry slam, and you come up and do your stand up there, and they're snapping instead of laughing. Like those rooms will get weird on you,
dude. There's a lot of smiling in Bushwick, in Brooklyn. It's a lot
Clapter.
of like, oh, yeah. Dude, we were talking.
I hate that, dude.
You know what?
I don't want you to agree with me. I want you to laugh.
I was talking about this with our buddy Luke, and we were talking. We were saying like a lot of these audiences in Brooklyn specifically, they're so fucking boring because they're just like, they're mostly, it doesn't even matter what race they are, they're all the same person.
Yes.
Like they look visually diverse, but all the guys are in tech and all the women are also in like tech or like,
they work in
figuring
PR.
it out.
Yeah, they work in PR. Yeah.
It's like PR and tech. So you look at a crowd and you're like, oh my gosh, this is such a culturally diverse situation we got here. This is going to be fun. And then you do crowd work and you're like, what do you do? And they're like, I'm in tech. Oh, what do you do? Well, I'm in tech also. Yeah. Dude, it's boring as fuck.
So they all have the same thought.
Exactly, dude. So they all just sit there and they're like, oh, okay.
That's one of the things, I talk about that on my podcast from time to time. Like, I like having friends with differing opinions and hanging around the same, like, that's why I like comedy. I mean, we all love comedy, but we're all fucking animals and we all come from different places. When you work in, the tech industry or finance, whatever, everyone kind of has the same thought process, and it bores me to tears. Like if I know, like in LA, like if I know someone is pro Second Amendment, I know every one of their other political and cultural positions on any topic, and if I know they're pro choice, I could guess with almost 100% accuracy all that person's political persuasions, and thoughts on ideas, and I don't like that. I like you asked me about guns or abortion. I have a completely different view on both. And that's interesting. Like the idea that like we all have to have the same thoughts and ideas is really boring. Like I like differences of thought, and that's what makes a fun audience, right? Like, trying to get disparate groups of people to laugh at the same topic.
1,000%. There is something, I don't know if you heard that. I was
Bro.
in the middle of that. I was my OCD. I was wiping the dust off of one of our sound buttons, and it accidentally hit the.
I like that.
There's a couple that
nice. You got some smooth jazz.
Pre-recorded.
Maybe we can jerk each other off a little bit here. Oh, there you go.
Got a fake laugh, dude.
When I bomb, you can throw that one on there.
Dude, it works. Which is the? Oh yeah, that's the one. That's a good. I was doing that, and Randy V, everybody.
It's a good little setup, man. You're a real pro over here,
dude. It came with the.
It came with the apartment.
It came with the apartment.
Some other comedians lived here before. They just left all their shit.
Yeah, it came with it. That is not too far from the truth, honestly, dude. Bushwick, you move in, it's like, and this apartment has a in-unit washer and dryer, and also a podcast studio. That's literally, we're not too far from the truth. Okay,
I can't believe how they're rehabbing all these buildings, man. I saw a guy like an old
house, right over here.
It turns like a beautiful condo.
Gorgeous.
Instead of having 6 units, they have 3, one on each floor, and they're just like, $1.3 million apartments. Like, what?
It's crazy.
My mom bought her house originally in like 1994, 95 for like $188,000.
That's crazy, dude.
Dude, it's probably going for $1.2 million right now.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Dude, she could sell that and move right out to LA.
Oh, God. She gets offers, dude, like... It's weird. Like she's like, it's always Hasidic Jews who come and just ring the bell and like, we'll give you a cash offer in your house. She goes, no, thanks, and just shuts the door. But they're trying to like slumlord it up.
I could say that's what our building is. Yeah,
most of these buildings. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, dude. But what you're saying, it is way more interesting, I think, when you're friends with people who, you can almost like you don't even know what their opinions are until they talk to them.
Yeah, like, oh, what's your opinion on this? Oh, I wouldn't have guessed.
Because so many people like in the city, like also people in the city, they're like, oh yeah, we're so different. It's like, dude, just looking at you, I can tell you exactly what you think. Yeah. Either way, left or right or in the middle, I can tell you exactly what you think based on probably the artificial color of your hair. But,
judging by your faux hawk, I'm going to say,
or your mullet. Like I can tell you,
they got the curly Q mustache and they're riding one of those bikes with the big front tire. Real hipstered out.
Maybe your mullet. I'm going to be like, hey, you're probably real excited for 2024. I don't know. Like that's.
How'd you find your transition out here? Was it a hard one?
It's still kind of hard, honestly. Like this is, it's fine here. I came right before the pandemic,
Yeah,
January
same with LA,
2020.
same thing.
So it was, it was a nice 6 weeks, and then it was shut down, which, listen, I've said it. I feel bad for people who had real unfortunate situations. I had a great pandemic, dude. I was
man. Well,
I was living it up. I was at my parents' house. I was in my apartment. I didn't have to. This was like,
I lucked out too, man. I moved to LA right before, and I was, able to make some friends in the valley where I was living at the time. One of them had a pool.
yeah.
And then my buddy Jeff has a sweet condo, and then we had my place, which is a big roof deck, and me, my roommates, and my buddies, we would just go from basically just like a rotating house party every 3 days. Someone would host.
That's great.
And we were on our little bubble of 10 people and just kept fucking. It's
Pretty fucking great, dude.
And also the weather helped. Out here it was cold as shit. I mean, it was nice.
Yeah.
So the pandemic sucked because we didn't get to do comedy, and the gyms were closed, but. Other than that,
yeah, I
didn't get sick. I was fine.
It was one of those things. I remember I was in my apartment for a little bit with my brother. We lived together at the time, and then my other brother was living on Long Island. He bought the house behind my parents' house with his wife and his. My sister-in-law was pregnant for the first. I didn't have kids yet, so my brother, he's in medical sales, so he wasn't really.
He wasn't hurting at all. Yeah,
he wasn't.
Money.
He was working a little bit, but like a lot of his is office visits, so he was kind of working from home, and I was kind of working from home. I moved here to do comedy, and then like comedy didn't exist, so I'm like still doing some law, but that all shut down. So dude, there was times where I was at my parents' house and I would text my brother at like 10 in the morning. I'd be like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'd be like, nothing. I'd be like, let's meet outside. This is the summer, and we would meet in the backyard and play ping pong and then just jump in the pool. Dude, we would play like 20 to 30 games of ping pong every day for like a month and a half straight. That was my pandemic.
Jealous, dude.
I mean, it was great.
The thing I added during the pandemic, which they're hard to come by, or they were harder to come by when I was living in Boston. I don't know about the case now on the East Coast, but mushrooms. In California, I mean, you can get mushrooms everywhere. So it was like, I remember back when I was living in Boston, like once a year, you'd hear like whispers, the mushroom season has arrived, and people would go get them. But in LA, they were all over the place. So, and we lived 3 hours from Joshua Tree, 3 hours from Death Valley National Park, 4 hours from Yosemite. So like, why don't we just pack in the car? Because the campsites were open.
Yeah.
So we get a half ounce of mushrooms and go fucking camp in Death Valley and eat mushrooms. It was awesome.
That's pretty
awesome,
good, dude.
It was really good. I mean, like looking at the stars, hanging out on mushrooms with your boys, just grilling. It was fucking fantastic. I was like, you know what?
Sounds so fun.
Yeah, like people were complaining about it, but like, probably about 6 months after they lifted all the travel restrictions, I'm like, can we go back to being in the house and having the government send me $900 a week to sit on my fat ass?
I know.
It
sounds fucking terrible. And I was like, this is
making a little money under the table doing outdoor shows of comedy and not reporting it.
kind of nice. Kind of my deal. I don't know.
Yeah. Making $50,000 a year from the government teat.
Oh my God. Dude, that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, fucking universal income, universal base income. I'm like, I don't know, dude.
I don't know.
Kind of nice.
Yeah. See, the problem
for a moment, it was kind of nice.
The problem with that is it assumes that people would use that money to then go do something that they really loved. But people are inherently lazy. So, obviously for us, we would be doing comedy, but, not everyone's, that's a self-starting type of business. Some people are like, oh, I really love whatever, fucking carpentry. But but if you have to actually get off your ass and get a piece of wood and get started, it's like
learn the process.
Yeah, I got to go do all that. Yeah. We just show up and someone hands us a microphone. Go talk for a little while.
It's true.
You have to build skills to do other jobs.
Dude, I just saw a quote that it's like sticking with me, and it was that comfort is like the heart of depression and anxiety. Yeah, and it was like comfort is the ultimate devil. This is, and it really, I thought about it and I was like, dude, that's kind of true. Like the times when I've been the most comfortable, you think about that. If someone was just paying your salary, the amount of people who would just be like, oh, I'm just going to chill and watch Netflix all day and I'm going to DoorDash 2-3 meals a day and maybe I'll get to the gym. Yeah. But dude,
that's what I want to do. That's the only reason I like comedy is because it doesn't feel like work.
It doesn't.
And then the rest of the day is spent smoking weed, going to the gym, and watching Netflix. I'm doing my 4 favorite things: relaxing, getting stoned, working out, and then I go tell jokes at night for an hour. I was like, this is that's the life. It doesn't feel like a job. That's why I want to be in comedy, because it's not a job. I mean, dude, our first couple of years, we were paying to do comedy, right?
Oh,
Between
brutal.
gas and you have to buy a drink while you're waiting for your set. You waste 3 hours, blah, blah, blah. So ultimately, you're spending money to do what you like,
Yeah, yeah.
I think this was the first year I made, I'm up
in the
on
green.
Comedy. Yeah.
Out of the red.
Yeah. I had a writing gig for a little while at the beginning of the year.
Really?
Yeah, I was writing, I was doing making social media joke memes and shit for a private business. And then I just did my first headline My first headline event.
Nice.
Ever. It was a corporate gig. They paid me a fucking good chunk of change. And the best part is the woman who books it, they had booked it. They had comedians for their Christmas party prior to.
Oh, it was a Christmas party situation?
It was prior to the pandemic, they had booked, a comedy act, and it went horribly. It was their first Christmas party. They set it up, of course, like at a banquet hall. It was terrible. So this year, now that we're able to have a Christmas party again, she asked me, like, yeah, it didn't go well the first time, but we want to do it again. Do you have any recommendations? Like, well, can you rent out a comedy club? She's like, sure, I can rent the Tempe Improv. It's like, how many people? Yeah, it's like, how many people did you have the last time? She's like, I don't know, there's like 40 of us. I was like, why don't you invite all your employees and their spouses and invite some of your customers?
Yeah.
So it's 250, 280 people at the Tempe Improv.
Dude.
And it was my head. I was like, this is, my buddy Jeff was like, you're fucking spoiled, dude. Your first headline set, you're getting paid a corporate paycheck, and it's 300 people at the Tempe Improv. Like this, he's like, that's not normal. Like usually you're eating your ass on a cruise ship.
Dude, that is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, dude. So shout out to Katrina Barrett. Thank you to Katrina Barrett for making it happen for me.
Dude, that is fucking brilliant. God damn, dude.
Yeah, man,
so you've had a good transition in LA.
Yeah, it's going okay. I mean, it's weird. The thing when I moved out there, I guess it was right before the pandemic, and I had like a little traction at the clubs, and then that all ended because the clubs shut down, and the people that were booking kind of moved on. So there is a lot of that, right? You got to reconnect with who's doing things now. But it's going okay. The thing I do miss most though, because I still would hit open mics for new material and work on shit.
Yeah.
Like starting out in LA, the mics and all that, it's terrible. I mean, as much as we gave shit to the Boston mics. You go down to fucking what was the one the Hideout originally was.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that bar?
Yeah, there was a Hideout. Durgan Park.
Yeah.
Durgan Park.
Yeah. Like there was no room like that in LA.
It was great.
And there was 24 of those. I mean, you could do 2 mics a night and get some decent work in. So I would say overall I do less sets because it's just harder to get around LA.
Yeah.
But there's more road work. So that's helpful.
Yeah, that is good. That's kind of how New York is. Same kind of thing. It is weird. This is why I think New York is tough. It's so tough to break in here. Yeah. And still, like, even, I've gotten into like one club that I'm in pretty good, and then, but it fluctuates. Yeah. And like, you
got to be somebody's favorite.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the guy, shout out to John Borromeo and Donnie Zoladan. I'm friends with them from Stand Up New York. I feel like that's my home club. I'm in New York. Like I've been there every night, and they're happy to help me out. But that's I'm just one of their favorites.
Yeah, that's
somebody's just got to like you,
dude. And
there's
that's
a lot of talented
part.
comics. There's so many talented comics.
Dude, the city is filled with comics that were working like really good in their home cities, and then they come here and they're not getting work. And
dude, all the
don't
best
get
comics
spots
from Boston
There's
moved out.
So
man.
many people.
You and John Tilson and RDP and Chris Kimback all moved out here. It's like, and then you guys got to start right back at the bottom of the total. No one knows how funny John Tilson is in New York, and they don't give a fuck,
dude.
Whereas in Boston, he was getting feature work every night.
Exactly, exactly. And dude, you're doing like, it almost feels like every open mic and every club is almost like a different scene.
Yeah,
there like Boston, it was like the same 50 to 70
every
people
you see
doing
the sign up,
stand-up.
You see the lineup for the night. It's like I saw you every night in Boston,
dude.
Everyone was at the Burn on Wednesday.
Exactly.
There was nowhere else to go.
Dude, here you go to an open mic in Queens, and if it's your first time, you might not know anybody there.
Yeah.
Then you go to New York City and you do another mic, you might not know anybody there. And then you go to Brooklyn, same thing. And I'm like, you'll go to a show and you might not know any comic on the lineup, and you're like, dude, this is nuts that there are so many comedians in New York City trying to do. And you also have guys who are like successful comedians.
Real
and I'm
comedians.
Like, never heard of that person. Like, it's crazy, Like, it's like, who is that? And they're like, they have a writing gig and X, Y, and
he's
Z.
been writing for Comedy Central for 9 years.
They're making a living, and I've never heard of them. It's nuts. There are just so many people. And if you're not in that, like, top, echelon of people who's getting booked everywhere, it kind of is like you get like 1 or 2 clubs, and then if the bookers change, your spots are going to change. Exactly. And all that kind of shit. But it's a grind. That's what it is. Got a couple things that are in the works right now that hopefully will pan out. I'll tell you after the pod.
If you could just like, that's, I always say, like, I try to break it down real small, because like obviously before I got into comedy, I was in finance, and I was like, I just want to be rich so I can retire and never have to talk to anybody again. Like that was so fucking bitter about it. But when I got into comedy, I'm like, all right, I don't necessarily, like I said, I don't necessarily want to be Kevin Hart. Like I don't be that kind of actor, TV guy, but
Listen, it wouldn't be bad.
No, I'll take it. No, but I start I break it down from bottom up instead of top down. I won't be Kevin Hart. No. If I can make 10 grand a month, cobble together 10 grand a month between shows, a Patreon, and some ad revenue from a podcast, everything after that, I don't give a shit. Like, if I'm making 120 grand a year, I can have a 1-bedroom apartment and a car by myself. You know, and everything, I don't have to have a real job. That's it. You know, and if you think about it from Patreon subscribers only, if you had 2,000 Patreon subscribers giving you $5 a month, that's it. Everything after that is great. It's growing to $1 million a month, great. But out of 10 grand a month, like I'm paying my rent. You know, I can go out and have a drink, not worry about it, and not worry about fucking not being able to pay my rent and all this shit. Like, it just makes you try to break it down and keep it small. Yeah,
that is true. I heard a guy talking about this. He was like, I thought, and he was talking about how like your perspective changes with how things increase. Because like right now, dude, that's the thing is we always look forward. I mean, I do, and especially with comedians, we're always looking ahead to that next thing. And so many things, like if I look back, appreciating where you are while you're still trying to go. You know what I mean?
I have such trouble with that. I think I'm like a talentless hack, and I'm like, wait a minute. Just 4 years ago, I was an open micer. I had no road experience and none of that. You know, and I have all that now. Yeah. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm such a loser. I'm not getting anywhere in this business. I'm like, wait a minute. Just 4 years ago, I was doing the Green Dragon, telling my dick jokes to Chase. That was it. You know,
exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
So one other guy who knew me.
If you 4 years ago could see where you are now, you would be psyched.
So grateful.
You'd be like, oh my God, that's unbelievable. But then you're here and you're like, oh, but
I'm such a loser.
Where can I be in 4 more years?
Yeah.
And you're not. Yeah. So there is that thing where I try to do this too. You got to appreciate where you're from when you're like still moving up. But I don't know where I was going with that. But just to say that.
You know who slapped me in the face some good advice one time was Corey Rodriguez. I had just done my first bar show. Shout out and rest in peace to Brian Higginbottom. He booked me there. McGreevy's. And Corey was giving me a ride home. He'd seen my set. He's like, oh, it was good, man. Thanks. And he's like, and I'm like, yeah, man, that was great. I kind of want to get into this room and this bar show, that bar show. He's like, hey, wait a minute, man. Are you still having fun? Like, what do you mean? He's like, are you having fun doing comedy? I'm like, yeah, it's a blast. He's like, well, dwell on that for a little bit because all the shit you want to do, there's going to be roadblocks and bumps along the way. And you got to remember to just be happy doing it. And I try to remind myself of that when I'm feeling down on myself, like, oh, I'm a fucking loser. I'm not where I need to be in this game, and I'm getting older. I'll be 40 in a few months. Like, this is did I make the wrong decisions in life? Should I stay and find all this stuff goes through your head? And I'm like, I think back to what Corey said. Like, when I get off stage and I have a good set, the other night I got off in New York and I'm like, and I was having a tough day because I was worried about some consulting work I'd taken on because I need money. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like my whole day was terrible. And I got off stage after getting some laughs. I'm like, that all worth it. Every 1,000%. Every fucking heartache that I have with this business was worth it after that 15-minute set.
Dude, 1,000. And I also don't know. I don't know what it's like in LA, but I'm assuming it's very similar to here in New York. Dude, you might have a fucking run of just stinkers, dude. The crowds are bad, the energy's bad, you're bad, and then, dude, just one will hit, and you're just like, this is the best set of my life, and then you're like, just when I was on my way out, you pull me right back in.
I get that from when I'm on the road opening up for headline. Yeah. That's like, because I'll do 1 or 2 weekends a road on the month, right?
Yeah, dude, what are those like, man? It's fucking great, I bet.
That's what made me say this is the only thing I want to do. Because if I could just do 40 weekends a year plus a podcast, 40 headline weekends a year plus my podcast, that's more than the $100,000 I need to survive. And 1,000%. And I'm fully self-employed. It's just me. Like that's sort of the dream. And it's like you said, it's refreshing because I'll be in LA for a couple weeks doing local shows. Trying new shit, bombing, going into terrible rooms, going to rooms where nobody's at, because it's hard to get anyone in LA to show up to anything unless you're fucking Dave Chappelle or Lizzo. No one's showing. Dude,
Lizzo!
Even big names can't draw in LA.
Really?
Dude, I mean, there'll be shows like, fucking Taylor Tomlinson will be, and no one shows up.
That's crazy.
That's
wild.
Or like be a half-filled room at the Improv. Like, you have to have a certain level to really draw in LA. So I'll get to go on the road, I'll be 3 weeks in LA, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to fucking Cleveland." I'm like, even the Thursday show, which is the light show, it's 150 people, and they're ready to laugh. I mean, they're not like these LA characters who are like, he better not say anything about trans women. I'm like, they're coming with their ideas, and they're just like, yeah, I wonder what he's gonna say. Let's go, and they're ready to laugh.
Oh, that's so.
And you get off stage, you're like, it's like they should carry me out of here. I should be on their shoulders, like a king. was like, "Where's my agent?" I start demanding things. Like it's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, you're like, separate all the M&Ms. I don't want any of that green shit in there.
Yeah, I become a diva immediately.
Dude, as much as I'm self-aware and I think humble in a lot of things, I'm a fucking monster when it comes to other things. And dude, that's what they say. They say money doesn't change people; it just reveals your true self.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
Of course.
Where I think if I had $1 billion, like if I was Elon Musk, I look at like Bezos and Musk and I'm like, they're actually not bad people. Because if I had that much money,
far worse. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well,
I feel like I would be way worse.
I had that idea when it comes to like Hunter Biden. You know,
yeah,
oh, can you believe he took $700,000 a year to sit on the board of a Ukrainian energy company? And I'm like, yeah, I can't believe it. I would have asked for $70 million a year. If I was the president's son, I'd be an absolute ne'er-do-well jerk off.
Yeah, you're just sitting there and be like, do you know the connections I have to Washington?
I would be insufferable. You know, like drug problem. That would be the least of my worries.
We talk about that. It's like, what kind of fucking lunatic is tape? He's like, hey, I'm about to turn the camera on. Let's get it going.
Well, when your father's the president or the vice president, you're like, how much trouble can you get in? He's the guy. At the end of the day, he's
crazy.
Like he hires the attorney general. The attorney general decides all law in the land.
Crazy.
So if your dad appoints the top lawyer, how could you get in trouble? You know?
It's the ultimate.
It's the ultimate, FU.
That creates the Cuomos, dude. Their dad was the mayor or the governor, and then they were just like, nah, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Dude, the guy, that was crazy. Cuomo coming in and being like, this is a bridge that I'm naming, like probably the most famous bridge in New York. And he's like, we're renaming it after my father, which weirdly has the same name as me.
Yeah.
Like, what a piece of shit, dude. What a piece of shit move. Okay.
Yeah, very self-aggrandizing.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. Just like, but again, if it was me, would I do the same thing?
Yeah, I'd be a
probably
jerk.
Probably.
I would. And the other thing too is it depends on when you get money like that. Like, now that I'm struggling to be a comedian, I would have a little bit more appreciation for it. And I would use the money like, I'll build myself a podcast studio and I'll hire and I'll produce.
Exactly.
I'll do stuff like that with it. But if somebody handed me $1 billion when I was like Justin Bieber's at 25, I'd be dead by 27. I would never see 30. You know,
it's true.
Like, and look, people get Bieber shit. Like, oh, can you believe he was smoking weed in his private jet that had it landed? I'm like, that's it, dude. He was famous at 13. If I was famous, if I was a multimillionaire at 13, I would have no perspective on life. I would be insufferable. You know?
Dude, that's what it is. That's why those child stars always lose, that and the pedophilia. But
the pee-pee touching gets a little weird.
It's either one or the two. It's the fame at a young age or the Hollywood executives just molesting them all over the sets. But that, like, dude, of course they fucking lose it at like when all of the rest of us at like 10, 11, 12 are being told like, no, you can't do this.
Yeah, they're surrounded by yes men.
And then just everyone's like, yeah. Okay, Macaulay Culkin, keep that fucking money rolling in. You can do whatever you want.
No one has the balls to call you out. That's a big part of, I feel like all fame in general. Like in order to survive it, there has to be some people in your life who knew you when you weren't shit and can talk to you like you aren't shit. You know what I'm saying? Like who can be honest with you and not be afraid of losing their job or their commission if they told you to go, F yourself.
Yeah.
Like you need someone like, one of your boys that you grew up with. I'm like, hey man, those pants make you look like a little bit of a little light in the loafers, bro. I know it's fashionable, but you get fucked up. You come walking to Ridgewood with those loafers. Now. Like you can't. You got to keep it real. Like hey, look, that haircut and that ain't gonna play in the neighborhood. You got to fucking fix that shit.
Light in the loafers.
Like,
I love that, dude.
A little swishy.
Oh, dude, were you a big fighter growing up?
I mean, you had to fight to live in this neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah, to get around. But it wasn't back then. Like I said, I'm be 40 next year, so I was born in '83, and
it's a different time.
Yeah, back in the day, back then you had a fair fight. You smacked the guy, he smacked you, and that was the end of it.
That's nice.
Now there's too much gunplay. People will jump in, getting jumped and stuff like that.
Someone goes down, you don't know if you're going to get kicked in the head.
Well, that's the other thing too. And now you don't know who knows MMA or not. Like back then it was just regular fisticuffs. You just boxed and you just throw hands. Now someone will choke you to death. And you don't know. That's why you got to look out for the cauliflower ear. That's a tell. Yeah, that's a big tell.
Dude, have you seen? I've seen this guy on Rogan, the kid who's like the number one Brazilian jiu-jitsu or judo guy in the world.
Sure, he's a killer.
Yo,
Dude,
I gotta look him up. He's like
fine.
he's like 20.
He
Looks like he's like 135 pounds soaking wet, and it's like that guy. Anybody would look at him and be like, I could kick the shit out of that guy.
See, that's the thing about
and he
having
would murder
skill,
you.
though. That's the thing about having skill.
Yeah.
I realized this. I was screwing around with a buddy who had known some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I had like a yellow belt." He's like, I rolled. That's what they call it when you wrestle or whatever. When they do that, quasi homosexual thing and kiss each other on the ground. He's like, I rolled with a 13-year-old girl. I'm like, you might want to rephrase that. But he goes, whatever. I was sparring with a 13-year-old girl, and she was a purple belt. He's like, dude, she folded me up like a lawn chair. he's like, she knew what she was doing. She grabbed my ankle and twisted my leg in a way that I felt it in my throat. And I'm like, oh wow, all right. So like, the skill does matter.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, dude, that's what someone was saying about getting back into jiu-jitsu. I can't talk.
It's hard to say.
Jiu-jitsu. And
Jewish jitsu.
oh, who was it? Oh, it was Jewish jitsu. That's actually way easier to say, dude.
It sounds a little anti-Semitic when you say jiu-jitsu. Jewish
yeah,
jitsu.
True. It's that the tang on it. Dude, it was Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill made a post or something that he was like getting back into jiu-jitsu, and he was like, nothing humbles you more than getting your ass kicked by a girl on the first day.
Oh yeah, because they know what they're doing. There's all these little moves and techniques. Now, of course, in a real life, if a 12-year-old girl approached me, I'd punch her as hard as I could before she got anywhere near me. But,
exactly.
I'm not afraid to hit a child.
Yeah, especially today, dude. Where's this kid? Dude, it's wild. I can't find him right now. Good. I forget his name. But he's like, I don't know, 18 years
Just
old,
a killer.
20 years old. Dude, and he's looks like he's 5'10", 160 pounds, like skinny, like nerdy kind of guy.
It doesn't take a lot of force to snap your elbow, apparently. So knowing that leverage and that pressure point is the key to everything. And look, that's the thing. Once all fights end up on the ground, and these guys and gals learn how to fight on the ground. And the moment they have you incapacitated with a broken leg or a twisted ankle or unconscious, they can have their way with you. I mean, they could she could put the 12-year-old girl could sodomize me after she put me to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing you can do when you're unconscious. You're completely helpless.
Yeah, that's tough. And no one, and like here they don't have. I feel like today they don't have limits of like, I'm not gonna stop. That even when I was growing up, even now.
That's the thing about when street fights when I was a kid. Kid got knocked out or knocked out.
That was a rule,
bleeding.
dude.
He walked away, and I was like, all right, break it up. And you walked away, and
yeah.
You didn't like come back and get vengeance. You just took your ass kicking, and you went to school the next day with the black eye. Like that was it. Now guys come back, they show up to school with a pistol. It's like, you can't fight like that no more.
Yeah, dude. There was like a rule when I was growing up, and I had never really gotten into fights. Like maybe as a kid, like it was like innocent fights, but like it wasn't. I grew up on Long Island. We weren't really fighting.
Yeah. Nothing to the head.
And I would also, I was also a fucking talker, the same way, like,
yeah, you got to talk your way out of it.
I could talk myself into something. I'm going to like try to be like, whoa, what are we doing here? Why are we just not friends?
That's how most comedians roll. We got funny to avoid getting our ass kicked.
Exactly.
Or to get laid. Those are the two reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Girls and
not
talk
getting
my way out of
punched.
fights. But then once I started comedy, now I'll be like I should be punched so many times. Like I'll say shit at bars and I'm like, this is wild shit, and then like having a couple drinks and I'll say something to like a stranger and they'll be like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm kidding, dude.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm just joking.
Yeah. How many times have you had a woman throw a drink in your face?
Never. Have you had someone?
Yeah. I've probably been slapped in the face half a dozen times by girls.
Actually, I think my ex-girlfriend
my buddy's wife
me.
alone slapped me 3 times on 3 separate occasions.
Really?
I deserved every one.
What happened? What did you do?
I said something fresh at the dinner table, like with our family or friends, just whack. Like, oh shit.
I'm pretty sure
I had it coming. Every time I got slapped by a woman, I definitely deserved it.
Dude, I mean, especially if you say cunt. That's usually.
I've been known to drop. Oh, dude, I'm so bad about it. I immediately go to say something to hurt your. If I'm angry with you and you're upsetting me, I will say the worst thing I can to hurt your feelings.
I
start talking about your relationship with your dad or something. Really get in your kitchen.
Listen. I think it is a word that's important there to kind of. You can't hit a woman, right? You can't. So sometimes if someone,
although there might be good reasons.
You can't.
You could have a reason, but you just don't do it.
It's an important word. This is why cunt is an important word. Because, listen, people are assholes. All people, men and women. And men, if you really get to a point where they're going to cut that, this parts of it and cut it up, but when it really gets to a point where men are really going at each other, the way that the final settle is like they're going to get physical and fight.
Yes.
And that's how
exactly.
it's going to be settled. And that's going to, when they're so angry, it's going to get physical and one guy is going to win. Right? Or they'll just be like, we're good.
That's the thing with men. There's actual consequences.
Exactly.
Women do not face consequences for the things they say. Men will absolutely face physical consequences for the things they say.
1000%.
You know?
So sometimes I think cunt is an important word because if you are fighting with a woman
that's the
who
best
you don't
can
even
do.
know.
Yeah, that's your uppercut.
Exactly.
That's your uppercut.
You drop a cunt in there and that is essentially a punch in the face.
Yeah,
and they're like,
that's the best you can do.
How dare you punch me like that? And it's like, no, that is your, drop kick to the chest.
Yeah. You know what's a good one too? I like, and it's not as strong as the C-bomb, but if you say it right, it hits him right in the right place too.
Okay.
You got to go 3-letter words on him. You call you a little rat. Or you're such a pig.
Wow.
You call a chick a pig, she's going to get really upset.
That's a lot, dude. Also,
I called a chick a rat bitch once.
Oh, no.
And she started crying.
Dude,
she was so upset. She was so upset.
I said the C-bomb to someone once. I'll tell the story. It was a stranger. So if I go to a party, I love going to a party where I don't know anybody. Because I'll immediately become friends with
you're one of those
everybody
guys?
there.
Yeah.
I'll like socialize. I'll become like the life of a party.
I need one in. I need somebody who knows somebody there.
Yeah. So that, yes.
Otherwise, I'm just standing there drinking, and I just end up getting so drunk because I'm not talking. I don't know where to start the conversation.
Yeah. So I remember when I was in Boston, I went to someone I worked with. She had a party, and we were all supposed to like go to this party, and it was like only me from work that showed up, and it was all her friends. So it was great though. I had a great time. I'm getting to like I'm becoming friends with all these people. I become like pretty good friends with this couple. We're chatting it up, and then I'm meeting all these people. So eventually the party's dying down, and she's like, hey, we got to end this thing. You guys got to go. I got to go to bed. So I was like, hey, I live like 3 blocks over. We should just go party at my place. And it was like 10 of us.
This is headed.
It was like 10 of us there. Right. So they all come. We're walking there. We're having a good time. I have some beer. And this is like I'm in my early 20s, mid 20s at this point, right? I'm working. And we get there. And it's like, 8 or 10 people. And I'm like, hey, let's play some beer pong. Or they said, let's play beer pong. So I'm like, great. Yeah, let's do it. So I get beer. I have cups, set up the whole thing. And eventually we're playing a little bit. And then it's starting to get pretty late. And we're hanging out. We're there for like maybe an hour or so. And I'm like, all right, guys, I gotta start wrapping up. We gotta, take off. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. So this girl goes, she just said something like, I wanted to play beer pong. I didn't get to play yet. And I was like, I think I'm gonna call it.
Wind it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. And dude, there was a cup on the table, and she looked at me. And she gave me like a look like, what the fuck are you going to do? And she fucking just slid the full cup of beer off the table and just like smacked it. And it just hit the floor.
What an
and
asshole.
Just dumped all over the place. And I go, what the fuck was that? And she goes, like gave me that like, fuck you kind of look. And I go, yeah, that was pretty cunty.
See, cunty's good,
dude. I didn't even say cunt.
The Y takes the edge off it. I use cunty a lot. I do that because women can't get mad at you for saying you're getting cunty.
Dude, I literally go, that was pretty. Dude, it sucked the air out of this room. Dude, all of these 9 strangers that I had just made friends with, they were all like, what the fuck did you just say?
Now here's an interesting question. Now, if you took another beer and threw it on her, would that be inappropriate?
I think probably.
It's like, is that like, would that raise to the level of like Ray Rice punching his wife? I don't think so.
It's not. I mean, it's right on. It's on
that edge. Is that because she just poured it all over your floor. So if you dumped the cup on her head, would that be?
Yeah, that would be an escalation. That would be
but would it be assault? Is the question.
Technically, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could call the cops.
Dude, all these dudes there. Thankfully, like the couple that I had kind of made friends with, who were friends with all these people, who were like, yeah, that was actually, I thought reasonable behavior for you to say.
I think
that was a real cunty move of her.
What are you doing, man? Like, get out of my house. You're throwing food and drinks around.
And then all these guys who were all trying, like, it was 3 guys trying to like get with her, and they were all like, yo, what the fuck, bro? And I was like, relax, you're in my fucking house. And she dumped it on the floor.
If she did that in your house, you'd be upset upset too.
Yeah, and they were like, dude, that's really messed up.
Just because she's a chick doesn't mean she doesn't have to follow the rules of society. You know, like this idea that just because you have a vagina, you get to live a different way. It's like, no. No, I mean, like, you just get to pay for less drinks, but you certainly can't go around fucking up people's property. I always get annoyed by that, like with in like relationships. You'll see this shit on the internet all the time. Girls talking about like, oh, you know, if my man cheats on me, or if he's lying, or if he dumps me, I'm gonna go burn his shit or fuck up his car. It's like, no, you're not. That is completely. If a guy did that, it's like, oh my God, he's abusive. You see, he's burning her car. Yeah. It's like, what? How is that not fair? Like I would call the cops and have her arrested. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's wrong for anybody to do that. You can't destroy my property because I hurt your feelings. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
You know, like a judge should throw your ass in jail if you like lit my house on fire because I dumped you. You know, like that's still arson. It's still arson.
It's that Carrie Underwood song, right? Where she's like, I've scratched my name into his truck.
Oh yeah, it goes like, like, no, wait, man.
Like,
the
I fucking love this song.
Yeah, if a guy went and beat the shit out of it, like, you know, took a baseball bat to his ex-girlfriend's car, I'd be like, whoa, dude, he's really he's a stalker, he's a domestic abuser. A woman does it like, you go get it. No, you don't go get it. Don't do that.
I mean, you know my old job. I mean, that if there is, and I will say that I was a prosecutor for so long, and I dealt mostly with domestic violence cases. And
Boston, that tracks.
Unfortunately, there is I will even say there is a bias there. Like,
it is.
If a lady got arrested for, you know, smashing up her guy's car because he cheated on her with a baseball bat, like, that's going to be taken
differently than a guy doing the same thing.
Differently than like a guy showing up to a girl's house, his ex's house at night, and busting up her car. That is way scarier. I know, and then we're going to look at that, and it's the same exact thing, but it's way scarier.
I know. If I were a judge, though, I would throw the book at the woman to make the point. It's like, listen,
of course
he can't do this. You can't. This is not how society behaves. You can't just take out your anger like that. Like we have laws for a reason, and you broke them. I don't care what vagina parts you have or don't have. You know, like. And there's a good question. What if it's a trans woman? Would a judge look at it the same way as a real woman?
I'm
or a birth woman.
I'm
whatever.
laughing at the fact that I'm hoping that everyone picked up the me going.
We're not touching that.
I don't know.
I know, right? I wonder how that would work. Because that's going to be a thing in the future, right? Judge is going to be like, all right, wait a minute. So it's a trans woman, but it was a man, and she's the size of him. She's still 6'2". Like, yeah. Is that just as dangerous as a man showing up and breaking up a car? Like, it's going to become, obviously it wasn't historically as big a thing, but it's going to be something out there, you know?
Yeah, because, I mean, you got to look at its core. What makes it so scary, much scarier about a man doing that action versus a woman is that the physical size and threat and like strength and presence is you know, it's,
What if it's here's another one? What if
it's the difference between like a Chihuahua and a pit bull?
Exactly. What if it's a trans woman who's a lesbian who beats up her biologically birthed female girlfriend or domestic partner?
Dude, to be honest,
that's that's that. Then you're like, wait, she's a woman now, but she has man structure, and she just clobbered her, her domestic partner, her wife, or whatever.
To be honest,
it gets hairy. It gets hairy.
I think you've been in LA too long, and that's like a math equation I can't even track. That, like, I don't even know what that.
It gets hairy, like the trans woman's upper lip.
Thank God this is 51 minutes into the episode.
All right, that was an easy one. That was an easy one. I wasn't going crazy there.
So funny. Have you ever been arrested?
Yes.
Have you?
Oh, dude.
How many times? More than once?
Once. Just once. And it was when I was driving from Boston to LA. I was moving.
This is like
recent. You hadn't heard this. So,
holy shit.
So I got arrested in West Texas, in Abilene, Texas, about 2.5 hours west of Fort Worth for class 2 felony drug possession. And there's only 3 classes of crimes in Texas. 3 is like murders in that category. I was one step below. And the reason was I got pulled over for speeding. Bullshit. It was really just I had mass plates driving through West Texas. They're taking a chance. Guys like, where you headed to? I'm like, I'm moving to LA. Just driving, had all the stuff in my car. I was like, oh, really? Yeah. What are you doing? I'm going to be a comedian. Oh, cool. It's like, I smell pot in the car. I'm like, no, you don't. He goes, what? I said, no, you don't. It's a brand new car. I haven't smoked weed in it yet. He goes, well, I said I smell it. I have probable cause. And I'm like, well, you always have probable cause. I can't say you don't smell. Like, I can't prove that you don't smell it. So of course, I can get the dogs out here, or you can show me where the weed is. I'm like, all right. So I had a bag. It was in my trunk.
Yeah.
I wasn't high at the time. Hand him the bag, and it was 6 chocolate bars. He's like, all right. Yeah. It's all,
chocolate bars, dude. You should have made him get the dog.
No, I had other weed that I had a lot of other weed I didn't give him. So I was like, all right, let me limit this problem.
Holy shit.
He's like, oh, all right, this is like a misdemeanor. I'll write you a ticket. The summons. You could just pay the ticket and plead no contest, or you can come and fight or whatever. And he goes to his car and comes back and says, hey, can you turn around? I'm like, why? He's like, I have to arrest you. I'm like, why? He's like, it's too much weed. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's 6 chocolate bars. He's like, yeah, but because I had my medical marijuana card from Massachusetts, and they issue you a real license. You have to go to a real doctor to get it. So it's not like one of these crystal healers where you get it's like legit in the state of Massachusetts the way they do it. He's like, yeah, that doesn't matter here. I was like, but what do you mean it's too much? He's like, well, if you read on the labels, it's like 1,000 milligrams in each bar. And weed concentrate is treated like crack, whereas like flower bud is treated like powdered cocaine. So it became a class 2 felony. I'm like, but you wouldn't have known that if it wasn't labeled, because it's labeled to me because it's medication from the state. I bought it from the state of Massachusetts.
Oh,
yeah. So I got pulled in on that.
Holy shit!
I know. It was a Sunday, and he was like, and that's why why I gave him the bag. He's like, it's Sunday afternoon. You get the dog out here, could take all night, or you can just give me what you got, and we'll go, and I'll let you go, and you keep on your way. So I get pulled in. Thank God he got a judge to issue bail before, I was getting booked for this. But it was hanging over my head for like 15 months.
Holy shit, dude!
And it was a serious crime. So it wasn't. I found a lawyer. This is great. My buddy, who is now he's the new mayor of Newport, Rhode Island. Oh shit! He was a lawyer in Rhode Island for a while. So I called him up right when I got bailed out, and he goes, Randy, because it was a buddy of mine from college. He's like, I've been waiting 15 years for this phone call. Because he's like a fixer kind of guy. He's a great dude. Yeah. He's like, I'll make some calls in Texas. I'll find you a lawyer. Right. He found me the best lawyer in Dallas. I call him up. He goes, you don't want to hire me. I'm like, why not? He's like, because if my big money ass goes out to Abilene and shows up in court, they're going to stick it to you just to stick it to me.
Yeah.
You want to get the local guy who hunts pheasant with the hillbilly judge.
Exactly.
So he found me that guy, a guy named Jacob Lizard.
And I was like, shout out, dude.
Yeah, Jacob Lizard. And I asked, you sure this is the guy? He's like, he got a guy off a double murder last week. I'm like, that sounds like the guy.
Dude, that is the
best guy. So the best part is, this is all going down during the pandemic now. My case is pending during the pandemic.
It's just holding, I'm sure.
Yeah, it took 15, 16 months before it went to a judge. The DA wanted to push for charges. And that's crazy, man. Yeah, my lawyer called me with that. I was like, guys, so I got some arraignment, whatever the next step was. And he went, he's like, got good news for you. The judge threw it out. I was like, oh, thank God. He's like, what happened? He's like, well, the DA was the first female DA in Taylor County. And she was trying to prosecute everything to get her name in, get her name up.
Yeah.
Judge looked at her and said, wait a minute. This guy's 38 years old at the time. He doesn't live here. He was driving through. He had a medical card. I sent all this documentation, all my medical details. He has a medical card for the state he was moving to. He's like, you want to prosecute a 39-year-old guy who has no history at all in any system anywhere. You want to bring him back from California I was going to have to do probation for pretrial diversion.
Yeah.
So I'd have
brutal.
It's terrible. And he's like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're already 15 months behind on a backlog. He's like, this guy, he ripped up and threw the case out. but it was because she was the first female DA trying to make a name. He's like, I'm not going to let you, try and build your resume on this kid that would have to drag back from another state. He's out there. So I thank God I got it tossed.
Dude.
Cost me like, $8-9 grand, but worth it. Because I would my lawyer said I wouldn't have had to do time. I had either pretrial diversion or on straight probation.
Yeah.
But I would have had to show up and take drug tests in Texas every month. So I'd have to fly from California to Texas to meet my parole officer, take a drug test, and fly back. So it would have been
the amount of money and wasted time that would have been for the system and for you. Just would have been so stupid, dude.
So stupid. But apparently, I learned after the fact. My lawyer said, "Yeah, this is like a scheme they have running in West Texas because Arizona and Colorado it's legal, so all the college kids come back from that direction. So anyone with an out-of-state plate, they pull over and find the shit out of them and try and get the revenue stream. Even the cop arrested me. Was like, "Oh, sorry, man." I was in the car. This is the best part. I was in the car going on a Central Booking. He just come sit in the front seat. Fucking,
Did he even cuff you?
He did when they were going arresting me, but then when I got in the thing, I was like, I can't sit back. He's like, I'm tired. He said in my police, I was very compliant. I literally thought I wasn't in trouble. Like, this is all legal. It's my shit. It's fine. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. So I'm asking, he's asking me about being a comedian and all this. So I asked him how long he's been a cop. He was a state trooper. It's like, oh, like 8, 9 years. My whole family's in the business. Yeah. It's like, so it's kind of desolate out here. Like, what's the real big problems out here? He goes, oh, mostly meth and pedophilia. And I'm like, and you have me in the car? He's like, dude, sorry, the body camera. I couldn't, like, once the body camera saw all the weed you had, I couldn't just let you go. Like, because then I would get in trouble. So I have to drag you in on this. I'm like, fuck. This is where the body camera comes back to bite you in the ass.
Dude, I got a fucking vape. I've told this story before, but I got last winter, I got a vaping on the subway platform ticket.
Oh,
dude,
what did they hit you for that? $150?
It was no, it was only 50, okay. And I was gonna go fight it, but then I was like, it was like a 45-minute train ride to like go fight it, dude. It was you know where it was? It was at the Broadway Junction stop. So it's an
outside
outdoor platform, dude. Outdoor platform, and it's 3 a.m. I'm the only one on the platform. I missed my train. Dude.
Yeah, some guy was pretending to be homeless and was a cop. And like, oh Christ, this is what you're busting me up for,
dude. Exactly. You know what's funny? I was on the train going to Wilson, right? Yeah. And I was Jack Burke sent me a video of the kids with Down syndrome cooking.
You know, when he jerks off to that weirdo.
I couldn't stop watching it. I was like, this is fucking great. And I missed my stop by 2 fucking stops. And I look up, I was
$50.
Like, fuck, dude. So I'm fucking sitting there, and it was 20 minutes between trains.
Yeah,
this is
middle
winter.
of the night.
Dude, it's winter. Cold. So I got my hood on. I'm like fucking just like watching this video still.
I would have been like, dude, this is my breath from the air. I would have lied.
Yeah. Dude, 3 cops undercovers surround me. So I thought about it. I go, it's Broadway Junction. It's 3 a.m. They
Am I getting
see me
jumped?
vaping. I thought I was getting jumped. Then I see, and I literally got my headphones in. I go, oh,
thank God. I was
thank
scared.
God, dude. Thank God. I thought you guys were robbing me.
Did they laugh?
No, they were like, ID. And I was like, what? Why? I was like, and they were like, you're not allowed to vape. And I was like, oh, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I literally said, I go, are you kidding? I thought you were going to rob me and now you're going to give me a ticket. I was like, oh, dude. So my theory is this is a little fucked up, but I don't think all they saw was a guy with a hood on with his back to them, 3 a.m. smoking a cigarette. I don't. But they walked over and they all had. I go, really, man? I can't fucking. And then I missed the train.
Sorry, guys, I'll throw it out.
Yeah, I was
and
like,
then you missed the train. You got to wait another 20 minutes.
Dude, I had to miss the train. It pulls up as they're taking my information. It's fucking bullshit. But yeah, I was so pissed, dude. And they said like, dude, I can't. I was like, you can't cut me a break for. I didn't even know we're outside. I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't see a no vaping sign anywhere,
dude. I was literally like, dude, I was on the train yesterday and someone's
I saw someone
smoking cigarettes on the train.
I saw someone smoking crack in the tunnel between 6th and 7th Avenue on the L train in the city on 14th Street. Someone just hitting a crack pipe. Cops everywhere. They didn't say shit to him.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
Yeah, because they know you'll pay the ticket. That crack smoker, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he'll just have the warrant, and then they're like, "Fuck, man, we got to bring him in to get blood from a stone, dude." What are we doing? This guy ain't fucking paying.
Yeah. We'll get this get this nice half a Pollock to pay.
Dude, exactly. Dude, the other day I was at the Myrtle Ave stop and I walked for some reason. I walked to like all the way to the end of the platform because I thought I was going the wrong direction. Dude, I get to the end and it's just like 2 teenagers sitting on like the platform just passing a cigarette back and forth, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
It really, there is no. It's like in baseball when the umpire doesn't call balls and strikes consistently. It's like
things get out of control.
Are there rules or not? You know, like what are we doing here, guys? Are we going to enforce these or are we going to ignore them? Pick a lane. You know,
exactly. Dude, it was fucking. It was so fucking wild.
Any other run-ins with the cops? You've been all right out here.
I've been. Yeah.
Have you been mugged yet?
No, fucking.
So you have not been initiated yet.
Knock on wood, man. Dude, I think about it all the time because
it's going to eventually happen.
Doing shows, I think about it.
And I'm like, happen. And dude, it might not be as electric or any fireworks involved with it. I got mugged one time. I fell asleep on the train. I woke up, guy cut my pocket, took my money out of the pocket.
Yeah.
Like while I was asleep, he somehow cut a hole in my pocket and pulled the money out.
Yeah, that's
something simple like that. One time when I was young, I was walking back from St. Matthias to church right over here on Catalpa Avenue, and a kid was like running behind me. I turn around. He just snatches my hat off my head and goes flying down the street. I'm like, it happened so fast and he was gone. I'm like, well, I guess I lost my hat. You know?
That's also, dude, that's so annoying.
Little shit like that.
Like I gotta now go buy a new hat. Like,
yeah, like little shit like that goes down, but you'll have your chance.
Oh, dude, I'm fucking. You know what I think about? I gotta put I got photos, I got like all like notes and stuff for jokes on my phone. I got photos of like my nieces on my phone. That's what I don't want to lose my phone for.
Yeah,
I got recordings and shit. Honestly, if some shit happened, I'll be like, hey, take my wallet, please let me keep my phone.
Yes,
or let me transfer shit because
I do that one now. Once every month, I have like a big notepad with all my comedy ideas, and I have different set lists that I'm working on, but all like the premises are in one place, and I just email that to myself once a month, in case anything goes down. But it's like you said, the recordings. I had my phone that I had for the first 3 years of comedy. I lost all my early sets. I had them all. I have all the audio. I don't have a lot of video unless someone else is taping the shows, but. Somewhere on my old phone, I had like the very first set I did, which was terrible, and I'm glad no one will ever hear it now. But it would have been nice to have it like for posterity, you know. But I lost that. So.
Oh, dude, that fucking sucks. All right, dude, we just hit an hour. We usually do an hour. Do you have any other stories you wanna tell before we wrap up?
I think we're good. I don't know. Unless you want to know something,
dude. I mean, yeah. No, I didn't know.
I actually want to do that to some of my guests. Next, I was like, that'd be funny to do my podcast. Guys, next one I have on, I'll be like, we'll sit down. All right, what did you want to talk about? It's like, what? You have me here. You invited me.
Yeah. Well, no, I always ask.
What did you want to talk to me about? No, you told me to come here. What do you want to talk about?
I always ask because I told you it's like we bullshit, but then like we get into stories sometimes. Sometimes it's all stories. Sometimes
we talk
it's
about some fights as
half
a kid.
and half.
Talk about me getting arrested. That's two stories. Two stories and a lot of bullshit. I think we filled it up.
I think that was a great episode, but I always ask because sometimes people will like have one and be like, "Oh, I did want to tell this thing," and then they'll just.
Well, don't worry. Now that I know where you live and you live in my mom's backyard, I'll be back on the podcast.
Fuck yeah, dude.
We'll do it again.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, all right, tell them where they can find you. And
all right, Instagram at Randy Valerio. Same on Twitter. Same on it's Randy Valerio Comedy on TikTok. Even though I don't use that shit yet. Definitely check out the Ready Set Blow podcast every Wednesday, all podcast platforms and YouTube. And if you guys want to know my road dates, go to jeffdye.com.
Oh, that's so funny, dude. I love that. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Troublemakers is out every single Wednesday. Rate, review, and subscribe. If you listen on Spotify, go on down, give us that 5-star review, leave a little fucking comment. We'd love to hear it. Give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We put the clips out every week, a few clips every week. And that's pretty much. Follow me on Instagram at Dylan Krasinski, YouTube and TikTok. And that's it. We'll see you next week, baby. Go follow Randy. Good night.
Thanks.